Hi, I'm Frank, and welcome to my woodturning channel. This week I'm going to talk about a new hollowing system I just purchased. It's the Oneway hollowing system, and I've got it laid out here on the bench, and I'll just sort of run through it with you. I used to have an old homemade hollowing system, and I do have the Hope system from the UK. It's an articulated arm system, which is okay. I like to use it. But I find it's good for medium-sized projects. With my larger projects, I much prefer a rear supported type system like the Oneway system. So I just got it a few days ago, taken it apart, and I'll just lead you through how it works, how I've set it up, and then show you an example of some hollow form turning. So this bracket at the very center of the screen here is the rear support system for the hollowing system. It looks like it's very well built and sturdy, and it's adjustable in height. You can see the little grooves there part way down. So it works on lathes that are I think between 16-inch center and sorry, not 16-inch center, but 16-inch capacity and 24-inch capacity. Now my lathe's 25-inch capacity, so we'll see if it will work. I have the robust lathe, and that's what I'm going to use it on. It comes with a stop block or clamp block, and you need to make sure that it fits your particular gap in your lathe. And the standard components when you buy the kit that it comes with, it comes with a 5/8" straight boring bar and two different curves of the, again, these are 5/8" shafts, and it comes with a large 1-inch shaft with a little bit heavy duty type scraper at the end. And these are all high-speed Stihl scrapers which you can resharpen. I also got the adapter to go from 5/8 to 3/4 because I have a lot of 3/4-inch hollowing tools like the John Jordan or Trent Bosch tools. And then the main arm that you put your tools into is located right here, and that is captured in the rear support system. And then this contraption here, or this mechanism, is the hollowing system laser guide. So this is a laser guide that fits onto this boring bar here, and allows you to gauge the thickness of your piece as you're turning it. So I've already put the laser in there. There's an alignment procedure of some sort that I have to run through evidently. Other than that, it really has not come with any instructions whatsoever. So that's why I thought I'd do the video, just for people who have one of these systems, and they can get an idea of how to put it together, how it works, that sort of thing. I've set up the boring bar and the laser attachment on a bench. I have it clamped down, and I have it all level and perpendicular and parallel as best I can. Now I'm going to go through the alignment procedure, which looks a bit confusing, but if you look at it carefully, it kind of makes sense. You start with the arrow pointing backwards on that top flange, and turn your laser on, and then align the laser onto a straight line. And I've just made sure that line is sort of perpendicular to the boring bar, which is aligned to my bench. And then you simply turn the swivel unit 180 degrees, and you'll see that laser point move a little bit. And then what you want to do is with an Allen key, just adjust the top of that until the laser pointer is about halfway back to the line. Once I've adjusted the laser, then I move the line down below and put it right on the laser line. And then I spin this 180 again and do that a few times until basically the laser point comes to the same position each time and it doesn't move. Now the next thing we're going to do is have the pointer at this position here, which is perpendicular to what it was before, and basically go through the same procedure. We set it on the line, we turn it 180 degrees, we move the laser by means of the little set screws, and then in the end what you have is that whenever you turn it around, no matter where you are, the laser pointer basically doesn't move anymore on the paper. It stays in the same position. The unique feature of this laser system by Oneway is that you don't have to keep moving the laser for different curvatures of your hollow form. You just simply spin the top portion here so that the little arrow here points perpendicular to your wall. And yeah, that's really neat. I don't know of any other system that has this feature. Later in the video, I'll show you how that works. I highly recommend you just wax all of the surfaces that are going to be sliding. This just makes the whole unit so much easier to handle when you're inside the hollow form. You want it to slide nice and easily without any hang-ups. And I do this both for the boring bar and the rear support. The laser attachment can be attached anywhere on the boring bar, but I noticed these two small holes on the front, and then it just dawned on me that if I put this right to the end, I can now thread the little set screws in through these holes, and I can put the cutting bars in and tighten them as needed. So that's kind of a handy. It's a great idea. Now, when you're using the rear support, you want to mount it on the lathe this way. Notice that the bracket holding the rear support is not in the center. You want to mount it so that these black toggles are facing the headstock. And that offset is, you want it that way because that's where you're going to do most of your cutting. Now, my lathe is a robust lathe, and the center height is more than 12 inches. And this back support won't go to the full height that I need, so I just put these little half-inch solid bars underneath. You can get those from Home Depot, and that raises it just to the right height required for me. I've put the 5/8 inch bar and cutter into the assembly, and now I'm going to go through an alignment procedure. Basically, I want the cutter to be right at center or tiny bit above it, but I want the unit also to be parallel to the bed of the lathe, and that way it's at the same height whether I'm further back or further in. So I just play around with the heights until I get that. I use a level as well. Just keep playing around with it until the whole thing is level and the cutting tip doesn't go up or down as you move in or out. I don't want the back support to be too loose and wobbly. So again, I'm just going to tighten this and adjust it so that the back boring bar slides smoothly and doesn't bind, but it doesn't rock too much either. Now there is another feature of the backrest that Kevin from Oneway Manufacturing told me about. If you loosen these toggles, you can lift up this back piece here and just move it off to the side in these little notches. That way there's lots of room there for you to put your boring bar in, which I'm doing there now. And then you just simply, those adjustment screws had preset the height. And now you just put it back in the original slots. And the adjustment screws will sit this right back at the correct height. So you can easily get your boring bar in and out without any problems that way. Here I'm just showing use of the adapter that goes from 5/8 inch to 3/4 inch. Pretty simple to just put in. And then now I can use my standard 3/4 inch bar from other suppliers. This one happens to be a Trent Bosch bar, but there are other suppliers out there who make 3/4 inch bars. I found that the cutter angle is a bit too blunt, and I think it's just going to hit the bottom is going to hit the sides of the hollow form before the top does. So I'm going to make a little bit different angle, more like 60 to 70 degrees rather than the very blunt angle that it comes with. It probably comes with more like an 80-degree angle. Now there's the angle I'm looking for. I've grabbed this piece of box elder from my wood pile and I'm just trying to figure out, am I going to turn an end grain vase? Am I going to do a side grain? I'll play around with it a little bit until I figure out what I'm going to do with it. I've decided to go with the side grain hollow form in this case, and it should look interesting. There's some little grooves and voids in the piece, and I might be able to get some actual holes in the hollow form. We'll see how it turns out. I'm going to go through the turning very quickly because most of this video is really dedicated to the one-way hollowing system and how to use it, how to set it up, that kind of thing. All my roughing out is with a 3/4 inch bowl gouge, and then I'll do my final cuts with a sharp 1/2 inch bowl gouge. want a nice large diameter tenon on this, and that way it'll make the hollow form much more stable during hollowing. Recall that this is side grain, so I am cutting in the correct direction. If this was end grain, I'd be going the other way. So I'm cutting with the grain. I always try to drill out as much of the hollow form as I can. And of course that depends on how large of an opening you're going to have. And I drill down to the final thickness of the bottom. With everything set up, I can now start the hollowing process. And just for the initial part of the hollowing, I take the laser off just so it doesn't get all shook up and damaged. And you can pretty well see how thick you're going just by eye. So I'll do that until I get closer to the wall thickness that I want, and then I'll put the laser back on. The system's running fairly smoothly, not a lot of vibration. So yeah, it works pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with it so far. Now that I've done some roughing, I've reattached the laser, and I'm going to start by putting it right at the point of the cutting tip. And then with this little sliding mechanism at the top, I offset it to the amount of thickness I want in the wall. And then what's really nice about this system is that you can swivel the pointer around and it will maintain the thickness of the wall all the way around that cutter tip. Unlike other systems where you have to keep adjusting the laser and moving it around, the beauty of this system is that you don't have to do that. Once you've done this setup, basically you don't have to move the laser anymore. Now right in the middle of cutting, I just moved the top circle around just a little bit, just to make sure that it's measuring totally perpendicular to the wall that I'm cutting. Yeah, this system does a great job. I don't know of any other system that has that laser adjustment, so it's worth it just for that. Once the laser light starts to fall off the side, then you know you've reached the thickness desired. Yeah, so it's a really handy system. I'm using the 5/8 inch bar here, and I did find that it did start to vibrate a little bit as I got deeper. This piece is almost 7 inches deep, so it would be nice for this system to have some 3/4 inch bars that could be used in it, or even 1 inch bars, because you do get vibration when you're off the tool rest that far. Now the system does come with a 1 inch straight bar, so I guess that could be used for the deeper portions. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the one-way hollowing system. I'm now just going to jam chuck the piece and cut the tenon down and reshape the bottom just to the way I like it. And I'm just using a 1/2 inch bowl gouge for that. Then a little bit of sanding, and I've sprayed lacquer on this piece for the final piece, and some images are coming up.